Alright, hello everybody and welcome. This is another match for the Heritage League. This is playing against my IRL buddy, former teammate, somebody I've known pretty much the entire time I've played Magic. So this is Joe Janik, good friend of mine, and it's really cool that he was able to join the league as well. So I know for a fact, because I've watched his other matches, that he's playing Zombardment, and it's a Mardu version, kind of very similar to what the old Zombardment looked like, just a couple tweaks here and there. So we're in for a treat because this deck is super fun to play with, play against. It's going to have some awesome stuff. This hand, on the other hand, does not look good, especially on the draw. I mean, I only have the Ponder. If this was a Tundra, I'd be more inclined because a Plow and a Ponder are pretty good against him. Thoughtseize is kind of weak. He's Faithless Looting anyway. I think I'm going to mulligan. And this is maybe better. I mean, the Force is almost has to hit one of his enchantments. He has Goblin Bombardment, but also Hidden Stockpile that are both really hard for me to deal with. And like I said, Thoughtseize not great, but I think better than the average 5 here. I will put back the Delta. Mulliganing against the deck with discard too. Yeah, he has Thoughtseize. He has Cabal Therapy as well. So not good to start off down a card, but this hand is somewhat resilient to it. Taking my Thoughtseize, interesting. You might have more discard. Like I said, I'm pretty much tying this Jace to the Force. Young Stitch. Hits a Cabal Therapy, and he has Knowledge in my hand, so that's pretty good. Oh, he has Dreadhorde Invasion too, I forgot about that. It's more zombie synergy. Makes a token every turn that can buy back Grave Crawlers, so you can start with like no board at the start of your turn and then end up with 5 guys. Yeah. Just gonna let this happen, because I mean forcing it seems a little bit loose. He's taking the Force anyway, so did my job for me. I basically have to rip like a god from here on out. I'm really struggling to see a line that would work after I've been hit with double discard spell. I mean, he doesn't have any pressure yet, but that can change very fast with this deck. Yeah, so I need like cantrips. I guess Flow State would be the best draw as always. Feels like every time I play this deck, I'm like, well, if I draw Flow State, I guess it's not too bad. It's already online because he took the Force of Will. It would be cool if he like jams Bombardment or something. Yeah, because he doesn't know I just ripped another Force of Will. These enchantments are the hardest to deal with, and I imagine that's true for a lot of decks too, because as I've talked about before, the lack of Prismatic Ending, Council Judgment, stuff like that, it's a lot harder to deal with like a small shitty enchantment than it used to be. He says probably just dead. Oh my god, I literally called shot this flow state. Okay. Well, I can't cast the Plow, even though that would be the obvious best draw. I think I'm going to take the 2 non-Plow cards. I can't cast the Hymn either, actually. Yeah, let me take Plow and Drown, because the Hymn is equally far away. I need another land to hit that. But at least the Plow is good when I draw it, whereas the Hymn, he might not even have cards in hand by then. He says probably just dead now, but like I said, there's a real chance this Gravecrawler just attacks me 9 times and I lose in a very embarrassing fashion. Damn. Waited just a turn, I could have drowned that. Okay, now curious what he names here. Yeah, Brainstorm's not bad. because I would have taken it off the flow state, and I played a tapped Sanctuary, so I couldn't have even cast it. Okay, I can snap Thoughtseize, but that doesn't seem great. I'll just pass with Drown Up. Keep getting chipped away at. Mystic Sanctuary biting me here. If this was a Tundra or something, I think I'd be in a much better position. This was kind of a last-minute addition. I felt like 19 lands was too few for this deck, and I also didn't want to play an additional one. I'm going to drown this just because he's likely to take Drown anyway, so... Sacking the Gravecrawler makes me think he drew another zombie. Oh my goodness. Thank God, finally. Okay, so I can like snap Flow State, probably my best bet. This is gonna get Scrubland because that way I have double black if I draw him and a white source for the plow. And this is where the main deck Void Rend is going to be particularly useful because once the Bombardment's resolved, I have no way other than the Void Rend of getting it off the table, so... Thoughtseize is weak. Take Force and Brainstorm. Not really interested in casting this Force of Will. No block there. Cool. My life total is high enough that Bloodghast isn't hasty yet. Pitched a Feeder and a Ghast. Okay. Unfortunately, Plow looks like it would be very good against Bloodghast, Gravecrawler, etc., but this being in play means that realistically it's never going to plow anything. In fact, there's a chance this game that the Plow is saved just to gain some life on my own guy. We'll see how that goes. If I can get it up to like a 5/5 with Prowess, might be worth time walking myself. Okay, let's go shoot this down. Okay, I think I will start with the Brainstorm because I have a sort of interest in getting rid of this Force of Will since he's Hellbent and you know, his most important card is already in play. And there's the Void Rend, awesome. Okay, so we'll put back Force and Snap. I'm gonna Void Rend the Bombardment, see what he does. He'll probably just shoot down all my guys, or he could shoot me for 3. We'll see. This is the card I was literally looking for, so... Yeah, I think he's better off just shooting all my threats, because this is going to get equipped, and then he can shoot it twice. If he shoots me, he could bring me down to... Okay, interesting. Flyers I have no blockers for, so there is some value there. The other option, what I was going to say, is he could have shot me down to 10, because then his Bloodghasts are hasty from there on out. But I think that's equivalent to just keeping a Spirit in play, right? Like, if he shot me and then didn't draw a land, it would have looked pretty silly, so... Excuse me. Another Souls for flashback. Crawler from the hand, so now he has the crawlers both going. But I have the plow. Okay, draw Snap, and then I'm going to ponder because I want to shuffle away the Force of Will. There's Mentor. Man, I've been saying this whole league that I never get to see him, and here I have the opportunity, but I think it's just too irrelevant, right? I'm taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 if he draws a land. Yeah, this is a shuffle. What am I thinking? And as always, this card just right on time, man. Wow. K command not super relevant, but better than a second land. Get in with both. This thing can't block, so this takes to 5. He goes to 8. And then I'm taking how much on the crackback? I do have the plow, so I could hit the crawler. I should have set a stop in his like upkeep or draw step and plowed this, because now he can cast the other crawler. Okay, I'm gonna zap this in response, so I didn't get super punished for my mistake. He knew I had the plow anyway, so it was gonna line up one way or another. Okay, let's see what looting hits. If he draws a land and can ditch like another Bloodghast, I'm in trouble there. Feels really good to get a game 1 against this because all of his graveyard stuff lines up great against me. Alright, this is where the lockdowns are good. This card, it was funny because we were talking before and I knew that he was going to play Zombardment for this league, and I switched the second verdict to a lockdown like last minute, and I was like, well, it's good against Chalice, it's good against tokens, you know, there's like stuff that this is good against, but it's particularly good against Goblin Bombardment, Hidden Stockpile, you know, his deck's like all around those 2-mana enchantments, so this is going to be an MVP all-star. And then of course the Surgical Extractions. Containment Priest, this actually is surprisingly not good against him because it doesn't stop Lingering Souls, it doesn't stop Gravecrawler, it only stops Bloodghasts. That being said, it's probably still worth bringing in, right? Because I have so many cards to take out. Thoughtseize and him are awful. But yeah, it was just pretty funny that this is my one part of my anti-graveyard stuff, and it's not good against like the all graveyard deck. 2 more cuts. The K commands are kind of loose. Don't really want to make him discard anyway. Jace probably is worse than a second K command. Keeping the Force of Wills in just because the 2-mana enchantments are so important. After my Beanstalk match, there was a little bit of a discussion about whether I should have kept Force of Wills in there just for the beans, because fighting on that axis is the only way that I can even keep up. Again, a weak hand. Tundra Plow is nice, Force is nice, but a single land with no Ponder or Brainstorm. This is a mulligan. Yeesh. This is definitely a keep, but not optimistic. I have the Surgical. I think I'm going to put back Plow. Reason being, I want to play tap land turn 1, turn 2 Ponder, save the Brainstorm, and then maybe the Force will pitch to either the Force or the Brainstorm for his 2-mana enchantment. Of course, I'm likely to get Thoughtseized, so who knows if this hand will look like it does in 2 turns. Okay, no discard spell. That was a good draw. Since I boarded out my discard, I don't have any real need for black sources, right? I have the Drown and the K command, and maybe hardcast this. So I think I'm going to get Tundra to start. And this is fine. So I want to draw Scalding Tarn next turn, I think. So it'll be like Cutter, Scalding Tarn, Ponder, no shuffle. Another thing is, I know he has this card in his sideboard called Contamination, which is like 3 mana, and it makes all lands produce black mana. But he has to sacrifice a creature every turn, which of course is not hard for his Bloodghast, Gravecrawler, Hidden Stockpile, Dreadhorde Invasion deck. So if that thing comes down, it's basically game over. I mean, I can't cast spells anymore. So I'll let this one resolve. I have a second Force, so he can't really keep me off of forcing an enchantment. He's likely to just take Surgical here anyway. But yeah, contamination is like something that's like such a fear. I think that he probably should maybe even have more in the board because it's so good. But I don't know about against you know, the rest of the field at large. But my greedy ass mana base deck. Ooh, he didn't like the sight of my hand. It's 2 cantrips. Could be anything. All right, now I have to decide. So, because if I play this fetch and crack it, then I'm not getting the cutter. I think that I'm going to play Sanctuary Go. And the reason for that is I want to keep the cutter on top. I'll draw the cutter, fetch, play it, and ponder next turn. I'm just going to sit behind these 2 Force of Wills. He's low on cards. Well, even on cards. Therapy would take the Brainstormer Ponder, probably. Let me think here. It's not naming Cutter, so I can keep those 2 safely. I think he would be reasonably inclined to take Ponder or Force of Will. So I think this is a tough one. This is why Cabal Therapy is one of the coolest cards in Magic history, in my opinion, because there's so much gameplay here. He knows I have 2 Force of Wills. He thinks, okay, well, he's going to hide the 2 Force of Wills, so I'll name Ponder. And that, putting back the 2 Force of Wills is like level 0, right? Because that prevents me from getting 2-for-1 with duplicates. But if I know he's going to name Ponder, or I suspect he will name Ponder, then what I actually want to do is I want to put back like Force Ponder, so that I ensure to have Cutter plus activation next turn. But then I'm stuck with 2 Force Wills in hand. So, you know, I'm back to the spot where I'm getting 2-for-1 if he names Force of Will. I know Joe is a very good player. I know that he has played Cabal Therapy for probably 15 years. So, damn, this is tough. I don't really care about the Force of Wills. You know what I mean? Like, so if I put back Ponder Force, I have my Corey Steel Cutter into Ponder next turn. Even if he names Force of Will and 2-for-1s me, I don't think I'm that bad off, right? We're both kind of doing nothing, but I have a Cutter going. Yeah, let's do that. So Force back first, then Ponder on top, and then this resolves. Yeah. Okay, so he looped back around and got me. Wait, what? Okay, hold on. I just learned this. You can't type LMAO in the MTGO chat. That's really funny. Because now it looks like I'm just cursing at him. It's probably a 2-mana enchantment. Okay, Blood Gas. Not bad. That's really funny. Oh, shit. I forgot about the flashback therapy. That is really bad. Alright, well, he thought he was dead when he thought sees me. But now, because of the way that therapy has shaken out, yeah, I think we're back to having a really interesting game here. So, I don't want the Force of Will, but I also don't want to shuffle before the Ponder. So I think I'm going to take a less optimal Ponder and see only 2 fresh cards. Okay. I don't want any of these. Well, I want the Brainstorm, but I guess that's fine. I'll just be patient here. Draw the Brainstorm, and then I'll crack fetch on his end step. Getting the 2 cutters hit was brutal. I wonder if there was a way I could have played around that. What if I put back Cutter Ponder? Then he names Force of Will. He 3-for-1s me and hits all 3 forces, but I still have a Cutter and a Ponder on top. Who knows? This is another cool interaction. Undiscovered Paradise plus Stockpile. So he's pretty much insured to get Revolt every turn. Man, that was probably one of the best Cabal therapies ever played. He got 4 cards for 1. Alright. Decent draw. The Mentor again slow when I have no lands. I'm going to be flashing the priest on the end step, so I'll put it back like this. I can't just plow the blood gas, which is what I want to do because he is smart and he'll leave up a stockpile activation. Pick up my small victories. Yeah, there were a lot of ways that that brainstorm in response to the therapy could have gone. So let's say I hit both the cutters. Like I said, I think he would take Ponder. Well, he named Force Will anyway, so maybe he would have just named Force, 3-for-1 move with the Force, flashback, take the Ponder, and then I'm drawing cutters for 2 turns with no cantrip. That's probably not great. Hey, you fool. He named Snapcaster Mage. It's on top of my deck. Okay, interesting that he chose to give up the blood gas there because it's not going to come back as long as this priest is in play. He will get 2 tokens, so he can, still value me out with those, but the blood gas is effectively on lock while I keep this out. My next card is Mentor. As long as we can stay in this holding pattern, I'm not too afraid, because this priest blocks 1 token per turn. I can snap Plow if he plays something else and maybe like taps out with the from the stockpiles. Therapy has literally never been this good yet. I wonder if he thinks that I kind of like let him take the double Force of Wills. He'll watch this afterwards once I like edit it and upload it and everything, but interesting spot. I remember Therapy being played alongside like Young Pyromancer in Legacy. That was a cool era. Okay, so again, I'm going to slow roll. I'm not going to snap plow anything on the end step. The token army is getting a little frustrating, but I want to get my Mentor going. It's probably the first time I've actually gotten to do anything with it this league, despite naming the deck at Monastery Mentor deck. Fun matchup. Bombardment is obviously the scariest thing because you can shoot down the priest and then start doing bloodghast stockpile things. I don't know what he boards against me. It's possible that he has some like spot removal in the board, fatal pushes or plows of his own because he's a white deck. Okay, keeping the souls action going. Another Bloodghast, which would be a good hit with the Paradise, except for the Priest. Keeping things at bay. Take 2 in the sky. Second Mentor. Let's do the math. I'll have 3 blockers. This is 4, 5, 6, 7 on the ground, 4 in the air. I block 3 of it. I take 4 on the ground, 4 in the air. I go down to 6, and then I'm dead without making multiple tokens. So I think this is a... I gotta like snap plow something. Or I can snap Ponder. I think I'm gonna snap Ponder. I need to keep my cantrips flowing. And this gives me a trigger on this. I'm in a weird spot where I need both lands and spells, you know, because I really would like 4 or 5 lands to have a really pop-off Mentor turn. Man, okay, 3rd Mentor. I don't know about that. So, well, let's think about this. If I draw Volk, play it, next turn I can snap Ponder, shuffle. I won't draw the Mentor. Is that enough to keep up with what's going on here? He's getting 2 stockpiles a turn, 4 in the air. I really need to find my lockdown would be like my best draw, so I think I will shuffle off this. Get a land anyway. Can't attack. This is a very funny game. It looks more like a modern game where we're both kind of like old modern. This is an upkeep scry. Good for him. I knew I shouldn't have done that. He probably hit a 2-mana thing. He has the Paradise in hand, so maybe hit Contamination or Lingering Souls. A 3-mana play that he can't make now. Okay, passive. I was gonna say if he attacks with everything, I block 4 of it. He gets in 2 more damage, but I don't think that changes his clock. Once again, I'm still really just looking for like Lockdown or even Verdict. Although with these Bloodghast in the graveyard and the Paradise going, maybe Verdicting is suicide for me. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna hold the Brainstorm. If he attacks with everything, I'll cast it to get extra triggers. But if not, still cool going slow. This Lingering Souls might just solo me. You know, I have no defense against flyers. It would be really ambitious to expect to plow 3 or 4 of these. So this is his 3-drop. If that's the card that he scried to the top, I'm thinking Contamination. I might be off base. Again, being disciplined, just the flyers coming in. That's totally cool. If he attacked with all the ground guys, I would have Brainstormed just to get the additional blockers. Oh my god. Yeah, so now we're on... I mean, I can't even cast Lockdown or Verdict here, so... Okay, 3rd Mentor. He's proved his point. Flow state. So what I'm thinking is I'm not going to be able to actually stop these flyers this turn because no combination of draws can get me to one of my sweepers, right? So what I can do is try to flow state into plow and then maybe like swing with a big mentor and plow it just to buy myself some time. You know, we're deeply in you know, wish fulfillment territory here, so we get another Tundra. I don't think I have a red card I would want to cast, so I'll tap like this. None of this helps me, right? Snapcaster. I'm 1 mana short of Snap Plow. You know, we're just gonna go out with a bang. This game's over, but let me at least put a bunch of triggers on the stack and maybe crash Magic Online. Up. Oh. I was joking, but maybe I'm... Yeah, so we're going to game 3. I think this is much more along the lines of how the matchup will play out. He hit me with some early discard. That Therapy was pretty brutal, and then I just kind of struggled to deal with this permanent type of enchantment, and then also just continuous value from like a Bloodghast or something, so... I'll concede so he doesn't have to go through the motions. Sick game. Lingering Souls is very good against me. I don't think that moves the needle in terms of me bringing in like Veto or Teferi or anything. Yep. Yeah, after this game, I think I'm going to sit down and be like, man, I had this really tough Cabal therapy in one of our group chats and just talk it out. It's cool that I'm recording these. I've never done this before. As I've said in my earlier videos, I'm not like a content creator. But yeah, I thought this format was super cool, and there's basically no content for it. If you search Heritage, there's like stuff from 4 years ago, and that's really it. And then Eternal Dirtles just highlighted it on a podcast. So I think more eyes on the format. This hand's pretty good. This has to get Tundra, and I'm going to Ponder on turn 1, but I think other than that, I'm pretty well situated. But yeah, it's cool. It's been cool just kind of learning how to record matches and stuff. I don't play much Magic anymore. Like I said, this is kind of my last hope at finding a format that's fun to play. So, all right. I like a third land. I like a plow. I'm not going to be able to shuffle any of these because I don't have a fetch land, but I'm okay with drawing through those. A discard spell would be a little annoying. I'm pretty much not going to force anything that's not named like Goblin Bombardment or Hidden Stockpile in these matchups. Imagine if he kept Therapy and just blind names like Containment Priest. Two lands. Makes me think he's flooded. Just gonna flash this Priest on the end step, taking it kind of slow. I want to play turn 3 Mentor and then back it up with Force of Will and then try to go off to the races from there. I have another Snapcaster on top, which I'm not too enthused about, but Force Pitch Snap, and then I'll have a backup. I'll Snap Ponder once the Mentor's in play, you know. See how it goes. There was a guy who said this card was who in response to the Bloodghast trigger, Sayonara. He said that Faithless Looting was the modern Brainstorm back when this card was legal in Modern and played in like Shadow and decks like that. And he has a kind of a point because it's a way to get rid of like trash cards in your hand and kind of exchange. The flashback was relevant. There were a ton of graveyard synergies, but I just always thought that was like such a silly phrase because comparing this to Brainstorm is like leagues apart, you know. It's like calling your Toyota Camry like the modern Mustang. It's just not the same thing. Of note is that he did discard this Rotten Reunion. If you haven't seen this card before, this is has flashback, and he can exile a card from a graveyard and make a 2/2 zombie with Decayed. Obviously, Priest doesn't stop that or anything, but this can fizzle a Snapcaster, so I have to be wary about my Snapcasters when he has 2 mana open. Alright, am I Snap Pondering? I think I am, just because I got to get some dudes in play. Unfortunately, I exiled my sorcery here, so these flow states are not likely to be active. But are they better than random draws off my deck? That's the question. I think they... So let's think. He has 4 cards in hand. We can be reasonably assured at least one more of them is a land because he ditched a bunch to the lootings. Bloodghast are on lock right now because of the priests. The Snapcaster might get fizzled next turn if he just holds up 2 mana for Rotten Reunion, so this is not like a reliable play next turn. I think I'm gonna keep. This is kind of silly, but what if I split the difference and I go like flow state, delta, flow state, don't shuffle, draw the flow state, and then next turn I'll draw a delta and shuffle the second away. And then this is just going to be a bad anticipate right now, but it maybe just gets a little more velocity into my deck. He says, making me click no on Bloodghast and crushing my spirit is your win condition. I told you in the sideboarding that this card isn't even particularly good. It only stops Bloodghast in the matchup, but, you know, I gotta do what I can, you know. I can't just not board it in. Carry on, my wayward feeder. Okay. So this is a mill 6, basically, with that carrion feeder in play. Or it blocks the Snapcaster for a turn. That's actually kind of threatening, and he's down to 1 card in hand. I'm considering forcing this. That's why I'm talking about it. I think not. It's another Bloodghast, but that's still unlocked with the Priest, so okay. Alright, my line kind of worked out. Depends what this flow state hits, I guess. I'm just swinging with Priest because Snapcaster will get chumped by Stitcher. Or, not chumped, traded. Alright, we are going like this. Go with the flow. Definitely like surgical, but then I give up on flow state. I think that's totally fine. So what am I surgicaling here? I'm thinking about looting. Bloodghast, like I said, I kind of have this on lock. I could wait to see if he mills again off Stitcher, and then maybe I can tag like an enchantment out of his graveyard with the surgical. My other option is just taking flow state. Even though, remember, I intended to shuffle it away, but I think I might take it because it'll be active next turn if he doesn't Rotten Reunion me, because I can like plow something on the end step. You know, I think that's fine. That's a spot where I could have taken, you know, a couple minutes to think, but I'm not interested in keeping people here. Okay, he didn't sack the Stitcher, so that means that he values it as a blocker. Totally fine. Also, his graveyard, like, with the Priest in play, what is he looking to hit? I mean, Lingering Souls would be cool. Gravecrawlers. I'm just got Paradise putting in work. I think he only plays 1, but this card is just so good. Yeah. So his hand needs work. That fixes him a little bit. There's a Gravecrawler. And a Therapy. Is he going to Therapy me? And if so, does he have any knowledge of my hand? I can't remember the last time he actually saw my hand. Let him mill. It's Lingering Souls and another Reunion. I am going to plow here. It's likely he takes Force of Will. Yeah, totally fine. Goes the other feeder. Also, another point of interest is that he's not playing Bridge from Below. I know that. So otherwise, maybe the Stitcher was more of a force target, because if he hit like a Bridge and a Bloodghast, or a Bridge and a Gravecrawler rather, I'd be a little more afraid. Yeah, it's got a swing. He literally can't block. It says it on the card. That's just strategic advice from our friends at Wizards. Alright, we're going with the flow again. This time it's active. Okay, now I feel pretty confident because my clock is faster. The Drown gives me insurance, even though he just took my Force of Will. This gives me insurance against his next enchantment. If he does have a way to remove the Priest, I have a secondary. And more flow states for future turns. Yeah, this was really rude of me. The fact that I had my sideboard card that's only good against one of his cards. He's hit multiples of them. And, yeah, I also had it exactly on turn 2. He has 3 cards, but we know one of them is the Undiscovered Paradise he just picked up. Lilo and Stitcher Supplier. Another therapy shit. So he saw Mage, right? I should keep better track of like what cards he's seen. Either way, if he flashes back therapy, I'm just gonna flash in the priest and then, you know, let it go. I think he's gonna Lingering Souls this turn and then probably sack the Stitcher to the therapy. If my flow state hits a surgical, I'm just gonna take these bombardments because that's the card that can absolutely turn things around for him. Mm-hmm. Flow state's freakish. This card's just really, 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 really good. Okay, I'm going to attack with everything. If he tries to double block a priest to get it off the table, I can just blow him out with the plow. If he triple blocks, that's totally cool. Yeah, I think this is most likely. Okay. I try to plow this, but it doesn't actually matter because whatever I target, he's just going to sack to the feeder. He let that happen. Maybe the 2 life, or it's only 1 life, so that brings him up to an even threshold. That gets sacked. Okay, I'm going to pass with Drown and Brainstorm up. It's funny that these are going to probably cross the finish line here. Again, 3 in hand. One of them is Undiscovered Paradise. He has 2 lootings he can flash back. Rotten Reunion notably makes a zombie that can't block. Otherwise, that would have been scary to attack into if he had mana up. Yeah, again, if I had kept better track of what cards he had seen, I would have a better idea what to do here. Because if he hasn't seen the Drown, there's no way he names it, and then this means that I'm safe against 2 mana enchantment from the hand. Like for example, if he plays Undiscovered Paradise and then I don't know, Bombardment or something, I can just drown it. But if he knows about the Drown, then he's going to take it. In which case, I would want to brainstorm a response. But I think it's still better for me just to let this happen. If he names Drown, like if he has seen this with the previous discard spell, okay, tick snap. That's totally fine. I'm pretty much just going to sit on this Drown for the rest of the game. I only need 2 swings with these to get through. Surprisingly close game. Assuming he has, you know, further gas. If his hand is just lands and he's looking to loot him away, like, that's unfortunate. We knew about that one. If I knew more about his sideboard, I could speak more confidently. We kind of talked about it when he first built it, but I wasn't really I don't have a great memory, if you haven't already noticed. I forget things. Okay, so I do have to start thinking about this because next turn he's going to be swinging for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 potentially. So I am kind of in the realm where I need to start. Wow, what a great draw. Holy shit. I was just saying I'm going to start needing blockers. Okay, so I can keep second land and then just hold up Drown, which kind of ensures I'm not going to lose to a random top decked bombardment or something. But I can also surgical the bombardments because that's the card I'm most afraid of, and shuffle away like Delta Snap. Yeah, Mentor was absolutely the best draw I could have had. Yeah, I'm going to do this. This is a little unfortunate. Actually, I don't even need to shuffle. Okay, cool. So I'll keep the Snapcaster on top. I have the option to shuffle it with the Flooded Strand. I'm going to draw step surgical the bombardments, which serves a dual purpose of triggering my mentor prowess so I can eat a Gravecrawler in combat, and potentially if he draws a bombardment for turn, then I look like a real smarty apple. Right, draw step, pay 2 life. Yeah, I mean, I could, if I was on his side of the table, I'd be pretty frustrated. Because let's say I didn't draw the mentor there. I have a brainstorm and a drown. He's threatening a lethal attack effectively every turn. So this carrion feeder is just the abyss. It needs to be blocked every turn. The crawlers are kind of, annoying because I can't plow them off because carrion's coming, and I can't ever hit them with surgical extraction because he just keeps 1 in play. So even if I sack 1, like he sacks 1 feeder ability on the stack, I surgical it. Well, he still has 1 in play. So if he plays smart, I never get to hit both. Okay, he does have stockpile. I wonder how long he's been sitting on that because he's had a couple windows to play it, but he might be afraid of my counter magic. Okay, he did bring in Rite of Oblivion. This card is pretty sick. It's exile any non-land permanent just by sacking something, and it has flashback, so you can mill it over. Hits planeswalkers and stuff. Alright, so that's totally cool. I get all those. And now he can grow the crawler several times. Yeah, okay, cool. It's 1 or 2 more pieces of interaction. Different game if I can get gas in play. Yeah, obviously. Sick games, man. And it's really cool to play against a friend of mine and like somebody who, this is a deck that he's loved for a long time. So having the opportunity to play stuff like that in Heritage is pretty appealing to me. So I've broken the curse. I'm no longer winless, but I don't think that I'm going to make the cutoff of the league because I'm 1-3 right now. But as I said in the deck tech, I'm looking to just play against everybody. So hopefully I'll have 6 or so matches to upload just so you guys can see a variety of different decks in the format. You can watch me, misplay my way into victory or loss as the case may be. Now that I've got some games under my belt, I can talk a little bit about the strengths and weaknesses of the deck. I think I'm too threat light. In multiple matches, I felt like, man, if only I can find a token producer, These Snapcaster doesn't even really count as a threat in my brain because it does attack and block, but its primary uses as a one-shot Yawgmoth's Will. The removal package has felt pretty good. I like having the plows obviously against large creatures and things that Fatal Push doesn't hit. K-Command hasn't come up that much, but I also expected more artifact stuff, both Chalice of the Void and Stoneforge Mystic, because those are kind of things that have been pushed out a little bit in recent Legacy. So I thought people in Heritage might play those. That was a kind of a miss. The only matchup where I felt absolutely like I could not win was the Death Shadow deck. And I don't want to get on my soapbox too much, but I've been pretty anti-tempo decks in Legacy for years. A big part of why I quit was the overwhelming feeling that, like, if you register for a tournament and you're not playing a Delver deck, you're just an idiot. And they were just too good for what they did. They do lose a lot coming to Heritage. I don't want to like downplay in any way. The lack of the Modern Horizons cards is impactful. But as far as like percentages of like how much you lose going from Legacy to Heritage in terms of card pool, I think Tempo is doing pretty good for itself. And that Death Shadow, Moon Shadow, Abhorrent Oculus stuff, it's pretty cool. I think as far as the Tempo deck goes, you know what I mean? I'd rather be losing to that than losing to Ragavan or Tamiyo or, any of that crap, True Name Nemesis. So, all things considered, I don't want to complain too much about anything. I've had great games, and all my opponents have been super gracious. So even though I'm 1-3, I think that the record scoreboard at the end, it should reflect that the matches were all very close and interactive. And the games that I lost also, a lot were due to my own mistakes, which is where you want a format to be, right? Play skills should matter, sequencing should matter, format knowledge should matter. You shouldn't be able to get away with mistapping your lands and not having Pyroblast stuff. So the fact that those decisions came down to matter is actually a good thing in my mind. So really pleased with the format, really pleased with the discussions that we're having. Hoping to get, like I said, maybe 1 or 2 more matches recorded for you guys. And stay tuned. Thank you.